Welcome to the Real American Road Trips podcast series from iCast 24 in Orlando, Florida. On this episode, I sit down with one of the more interesting people I met at iCast, Florida Wild Woman. Check it out. All right, another very interesting person from iCast 24 has sat down with me, Florida Wild Woman. That's a hell of a name. So tell me, who exactly is the Florida Wild Woman?
So I'm Christina Wilson, and I'm a wildlife biologist in the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
And I manage over 6,000 acres of beautiful islands in the Florida Keys.
That's impressive.
6,000 acres of islands.
It doesn't sound like a lot when you think about giant Florida.
Yeah.
But down in the Keys, these islands are very small.
Right.
You know, so, and they're all spread out. It's over 110 miles of island chains. So it's a long distance spread out.
Okay, so what goes into managing 6,000 acres of islands?
A lot of contractors.
Yeah, I bet, right?
Right. So here in Florida, we've got a lot of exotic species.
Yes, you do.
So a lot of exotic animals, a lot of reptiles, and also a lot of exotic plants. So it's all about keeping these natural areas natural.
Yeah.
And removing anything that's made it its home that's non-native.
Right.
A lot of wildlife surveys, reptiles, birds, all of that, buying new land so that it can always be protected and never developed on.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Super important.
Which is incredibly important. And, you know, we're here with a lot of fishermen.
Right.
Including yourselves.
That's right.
But everything is connected. So our nearshore waters, everything that happens with our land directly affects our waters.
Yeah.
And so having these green spaces is very important for our fish as well.
So what is the number one, I guess, most important thing you're trying to prevent right now as far as what you do? What's the biggest problem?
Our biggest problem is development.
Development.
And, you know, we have to work with a lot of landowners that are right next to these places.
Yeah.
And cutting into them, releasing cats. Nobody thinks about cats as being a problem, but looking at the world, cats are one of the number one killers of native species.
Yes, they are.
And
They're
so
perfect hunters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think a cat sits around and looks at you and tries to figure out, how can I kill you?
Well, that's what I always said. Like, if you have a cat and a dog will stay by you if you die next to it, and after a week, a cat will just eat you.
Cat will eat you.
Yeah.
I have heard stories.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
You've heard stories.
I swear to God, I heard a story about a cat lady and she died. She had all those cats.
They ate her.
Ate her.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Well, I'm glad she's dead before the cats ate her and all that. I would hate to be eaten by
Yeah, rough way to go.
It would be a rough way to go. But, you know, it's very interesting because of all the things that we're talking about, I didn't expect cats to
Right.
pop up.
Isn't that wild?
But I
Yeah.
do know that a house cat is a dangerous creature.
So people go, oh, it's good, it's neutered, you know.
Yeah.
It's not going to repopulate, which is great. But a cat that is indoors is the best cat to have. The moment you let a cat indoor, outdoor cat, they come back with little mice, birds,
Yeah.
reptiles,
Lizards.
Yeah.
But all these things, everything in the Florida Keys is either endangered or threatened. There are so many things that are endemic to that one space or that one island. And so everything is so precious down there, and there's only so many things of these creatures, like our key deer. We've got a deer that is only known to the Florida Keys. It's one of the smallest deer in the world. It's the key deer.
I was not aware of a
Isn't
key
that
deer.
wild?
So when you say smallest deer, what kind of size are we talking?
I
Small
would say
dog?
like a medium-sized dog to a large dog. Yeah.
50, 60 pounds, something like
Yeah,
that?
probably a little more.
Do
Really?
they look
Yeah.
similar to like a whitetail, or just much smaller?
So what they believe they are, is a subspecies of the white-tailed deer that somehow made it down, got stuck on the islands, continued.
kind of
And
adapted.
only found on the islands.
Only found there. So that's another thing is sea level rise. So where else can you really see it but in the Florida Keys? We are that low-laying area.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you about that because I'm from North
I know it's a hot
Georgia,
topic.
And
Yeah.
regardless of which way you fall on it.
Right.
I'm from North Georgia. We don't experience it. We don't see it. We get our news from the news, you know.
Right.
So in the Keys, tell me what you are actually seeing.
So the island chain is all fossilized coral reef system.
Okay.
Long time ago, that sucker was underwater.
Yes.
You know, it all came back down. Now we have islands. And from the top of the island chain, you have higher elevation. It's the highest elevation there is. And as you go further down the chain, all the way down to Key West, it gets lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
And so what folks are now seeing that have been living there for 30, 40, 60 years is people are finally admitting the water is rising. There is water coming up to people's homes, covering their entire driveways. And when it comes to infrastructure, they're looking at these plans of, are we going to put money into fixing this road or heightening this road? So there's this huge project going on in the Florida Keys where they're like, all right, how many billions is going to cost us to raise these roads out here? So that's another thought. You know, I'm never going to see it, I don't think, in my lifetime.
Right.
You know, hasn't been crazy fast, but there are a lot of things that are really changing, and you are seeing it down there because of hurricanes, surges, all that kind of stuff. And that it's just so low, you know, down there. So people are really seeing that happening. So
that's interesting to know. And again, regardless of what you think is causing it, it is happening.
It is happening.
It is happening.
Yeah.
Can you kind of tell me, you know, how much it's gone up in, say, the last 20, 30 years? Do you guys have a guess?
I don't necessarily know that number, but NOAA has that number. So, and they kind of have some predictions of what we're going to see in the next 10 years, 50 years, 100 years.
Right.
So they've got that on their site. So.
I think that's very interesting. You know, I want to get back to the critters.
Yeah.
Give me another example of a Key West critter or in that area that's endangered, because I don't know many of them. So, you know, give me a couple more examples.
Well, we've definitely got a lot of different smaller reptiles. And like I said, a lot of those guys are endangered or threatened, especially snakes. So we've got like a pygmy rattlesnake down there. I haven't seen any rattlesnakes in like years. So
they're supposed to be there, though.
Yeah, and then we've got the wood rat, the silver rice rat.
Yeah,
it's all these little teeny guys.
Right.
That can barely see anymore.
Right.
And the Florida Keys has like barely any fresh water. Fresh water is very hard to come by, but that's why the Spaniards loved that. As they were coming through there, there's a few different areas of freshwater sources. And so you'll look at all these old maps from like the 1500s and stuff like that. You won't see a lot of like crazy drawings except for where there's fresh water. So the Florida Keys were a huge stop off for like Ponce de Leon and all these guys, these famous explorers to hit up for fresh water. But fresh water is a hard source to come by.
Yeah.
And so our alligators no one thinks about alligators or crocodiles being down in the Florida Keys, but they are.
You got both?
Got both.
Yeah.
Really?
So one question I have is, you being Florida wild woman, what are you seeing as far as like invasive species? I know that's a big problem in Florida. Like, how much are you seeing that?
Iguanas.
And how much is that affecting?
The iguana, it has made the Keys its destination.
Okay.
They are no longer snowbirds, or they're full year round.
They're
there to stay. Wow.
They actually fall out of trees when it gets too cold.
I have seen that on the news.
But we have a major iguana problem. And with that, we've got iguana snipers. There's a guy that's literally called the iguana sniper. And
I would love that job.
He's a veteran.
Yeah.
And he takes people out. There's about 3 different outfitters that I know that go and hunt iguanas out in the Keys. But we contract out iguana contractors. So I don't personally go out shooting them.
Okay.
I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. Well, how would you like that to be on your business card? Here's Danny Pruitt. I'm an iguana sniper.
Iguana hunter.
I'm the iguana sniper.
He's this big, burly, red-haired dude, and I think he lost his leg in the military. I think he used to jump out of helicopter. He's like,
so now he's like
perfect.
Now he's like a pirate and everything.
Yeah, he's got some really awesome.
He's built for that.
Stuff that he wears.
He would look like an iguana sniper.
He's a rescue diver too. I mean, like it's
That's
all these.
crazy.
Yeah, he's a wild man. But the iguanas, it's insane. They scare the hell out of me sometimes when they fall out of the trees, though.
For sure. But nobody thinks about it getting that cold down that far.
No, it does though. You get on the water though on a boat.
Yeah.
Especially now in the summer where it's like the temperature can turn like that, the waters can turn like that. I was out on my kayak the other day, and I thought, this is it. This is how I die. So I went out to one of our islands to do a survey on our birds, and on the way back there was like the cloud from like Independence Day.
Oh yeah, it was coming.
The ship's coming out of it.
Yeah.
There was a cloud that looked like that. I was oh my God.
It is here. It is time.
And all of a sudden it was like 50 miles per hour, came out of nowhere. Flat sea is now 1 foot. Now it's 3 foot. And now it's 5 foot.
And you're in a kayak.
Yeah. Luckily it's an ocean kayak, but I was like, good God.
Hence the name Florida Wild Woman. It has different meanings. It can go for a lot of different things.
It was wild. Yeah.
And you were by yourself?
I was with a whole bunch of people that I had took out there.
Oh, so you were in charge of the whole group?
Which was the scarier part.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple people that weren't the greatest kayakers.
I understand.
So luckily, everyone survived.
You got it.
No man or woman was left behind.
There you go.
I get that. If somebody wanted to follow you on social media,
yes,
how would they do that?
So it would be Christina Wilson. And I also have another page called Florida Wild Woman.
You have a page itself called Florida Wild.
Say, much like Danny, you are somewhat of a personality yourself as well. Can you expand on kind of what you do in the same world that kind of Danny is?
I got picked up by Discover Florida channel. Chad Crawford is a wonderful producer in Florida. And they found me, his producer, Katie, found me on social media. And she's like, what's this chick doing out here in the woods? She's doing some crazy stuff.
Right.
But she's like, I think she would be a great host on some of our specials down in the Keys. And so that was my first filming opportunity.
Cool.
Which was really fun. And I realized I was addicted to it. And you guys all know you're in the business. And then a gentleman.
Yes.
You're in the business.
I'm in the business now. I'm in the business.
That and drinking,
Yep.
Which I did too much of last night. But
it's iCast.
I didn't know you guys turned up like that. I'm definitely coming back next year.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
Yes. But I met a gentleman after a day of scuba diving at my buddy's restaurant, Castaways. We were all hammered, and I looked over at the next table, and it was Coyote Peterson, who is the king of Sting. He's the largest wildlife.
That's a wild
YouTuber.
man right there.
Crazy. That's what he is.
Shout out Coyote, dude. That's crazy.
He is wilder off camera. He is
I don't understand how you can be, but yeah.
But we met, and I used to work with mosquitoes professionally also prior to being a wildlife biologist. And we ended up filming together. I worked professionally with mosquitoes.
Yeah, on resume. I worked professionally with mosquitoes. Yes. I got you.
Yeah, I was a mosquito huntress, but I've killed millions. But he was like, I'd love for you to be the first female host on my channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's do it.
That's awesome.
So I've gotten to go to Costa Rica with him, filming
Have
with
you been stung by anything
animals.
yet?
No, so my thing was, I'm not going to get stung by
Okay, you're right.
But you're going to think I'm,
Yeah, okay.
But everybody wants to see me get stung,
Yeah?
Like, what beats me up the most in the woods, is the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing, no animal has done what trees have done to me.
Yes.
So, yeah. But that's my filming stuff with him, and I just, want to promote Florida and women in the great outdoors.
Yeah.
And so I've created the brand Florida Wild Woman that I'm pitching right now. I've got a company pitching it, and hopefully it'll become a series, but going all over Florida.
Yeah.
Like you guys said, you guys like Anthony Bourdain, right? And
we're
all those kind of people.
That's
like,
it.
I wanted to do the culture, the food, especially the wild animals, history, culture, all that kind of stuff, because Florida is more than Florida Man headline. It's one of America's last and greatest frontiers.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
And
it's an incredibly diverse state, and just how you can go from straight up farmland to, I mean, beautiful coastal paradise in the Keys and stuff. It's such a big transition, but your state is so big that it can encompass all of that, and it's a fun state. It's always been a fun state growing up.
No, it's fun, and it's the history.
Yeah.
You know, if you look back at the history out here, it's wild.
Crazy.
From pirates to your cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
The first cows ever to hit the Americas were right here in Florida.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And you can walk out of your hotel room and get eaten by something right outside the pond.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So it has that wildness still to it and everything like that.
Well, you have the look, and now it sounds like you got the show and all that. So congratulations, and
congratulations.
remember us when you get famous.
Oh my gosh, no.
Let's go do some cool fishing.
I'd love to fish with you guys.
Well, we can do that, but we still got to go iguana hunting at some point.
We will definitely.
You got to hook me up with the pirate. That's the iguana.
Yeah, the iguana sniper pirate.
No, like I would like to meet that guy.
He would love you guys. That would be fun.
We would love him. So
I do have a beaver tail flat skiff that I take out in the mangroves. I go fishing with and just exploring with.
Yeah,
so
that's
awesome. I'd love for you guys to come visit me down the Keys. I got
hold on a sec. Let me think. Florida Keys. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, definitely.
Yeah.
We'll definitely
We'll see if we can work it in.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you hanging out with us for a few minutes like that. And I look forward to let's see if we can get something set up and make it happen.
Yeah. Where's my Buffalo Trace, bro?
It's in the van. It's in the van.
I don't think there was ever a bottle
Oh,
of
no.
Buffalo.
Oh, no, there's a bottle of Buffalo
You guys lured me here. They lured me with the intent that I would get some Buffalo Trace.
Lord.
Hold on. Hey, listen. Let me send one of my entourage out there. We'll make my entourage. No, we'll get you some. No, I know I'm back. But I appreciate you hanging out with us. That's awesome.
Thanks for having
Looking
me,
forward to
guys.
keeping up with you.
Yeah, I'm
good luck
excited
with
for you
everything.
guys. Well, thank
Seriously.
you.
Perfect.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you got it. Florida Wild Woman right there.